Thanks. And before I ask the last question, there are seats over here for those of you who are standing, and please take a seat if you'd like. And I'm going to ask my last question to Kevin Tabb. And Kevin, almost every issue of a major medical journal, or it's often in the newspapers, you pick it up and you find out that the solution to the world's problems are the electronic medical record. And so I'm wondering if you could give us your view on how the role of the EMR in safety, or maybe clinical research and information technology in general. Are we really on the cusp of a revolution, or are there things that that we need to be cautious of?
Thanks, Mike. It's a great question. I get asked a lot about sort of exciting new technologies, IT, to improve quality and safety. And I think that the question presupposes something which isn't necessarily evident, which is that healthcare IT necessarily improves quality and safety. So I've been doing this for a long time on both sides. I trained abroad and worked here. I worked both on the industry side, in startups, in large corporations, and then on the provider side. And I think the one thing that I can say safely about healthcare IT and quality and safety is that the hype far exceeds the promise. That's not to say that there are not many things that we can and do every day with electronic health records and healthcare IT to improve quality and safety. Many of us in the quality and safety movement use it every day to do things like improve standardization, use checklists, find medication errors, things that we've wanted to do for many years, and the tools allow us to do more easily than we were able to do on paper. But at the same time, there's not a great deal of evidence to back up improved outcomes as a result of what's really a major spend. And as I shift roles from a chief quality and chief medical officer to a CEO, I'm acutely aware of the size of the spend in perhaps a way that I wasn't aware of it before. Well, I was aware, but cared less about it, maybe. You know, at my institution at Stanford, a couple of years ago, we published a groundbreaking piece in pediatrics showing decreased mortality as the result of implementation of computerized physician order entry. And that was a fantastic finding. The problem is that it's almost the only piece in the literature that finds anything like that. Interestingly, 1 year prior to that, there was another piece published showing the exact same system from the same vendor implemented also in a pediatric setting, showing increased mortality right after the implementation of the system. And I think, though, that when we dig into sort of the findings on both of those things, what we find is, you know, in this case, it's very interesting. Same system, same vendor, same code, very different outcomes. It has nothing to do with the piece of technology. It has everything to do with the culture of the place that's implementing it, and sort of the systems that you have in place around that implementation. And you can do very good things or very bad things with the same piece of technology. You know, I think the other thing I'd say is that as Chief Medical Officer, I participate in every root cause analysis of every major sentinel event that occurs. And these are very disparate things. But I can also safely say that there will be two findings at every root cause analysis, no matter what the problem was. The first will be that the electronic health record will be blamed in some way, shape, or form. And this is, especially when I was Chief Medical Information Officer, I found that very hard, but I can't think of a root cause analysis where the electronic health record wasn't blamed. And I also find in every root cause analysis, frequently by the same people, the electronic health record will be brought up as the magical solution to whatever the problem is. And of course, neither of those things are very true. I'd say also that in many of the, I don't think I can think of a single event, a single instance of patient harm occurring as the result of poorly delivered code from the vendor or a bug in the system. That isn't really the problem. It's, again, around sort of culture and the ways that we've implemented things. And the reason that I bring that up is just to comment a little bit on what others talked about in terms of safety versus innovation. So I was recently asked to testify before a committee of the Institute of Medicine on whether there should be increased regulatory oversight, FDA oversight, of electronic health records. Mm-hmm. And my initial reaction was to be horrified, to tell you the truth. And I think even on second take, I'm a little horrified. Because what here there really is, I think, the issue of safety around these systems requires it's a constant iterative process. You need to quickly make changes. These things are, it happens very fast, and it's not an issue of bad code, but these changes need to be able to happen quickly. I would be very concerned if we introduce the kind of regulatory oversight that exists in the pharmaceutical industry and would result in a stifling both of innovation in this case and of patient safety. So I would just put that out there also.